Good afternoon, good afternoon. Another Sunday for the people, by the people. Brother Marong, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing very, very well, Fadamos.
It looks like
Are you on live then? Oh, okay.
we're live, we're live, we're live.
I didn't see it on Facebook though.
I thought I saw it.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. I think we're on now. Yep, got it.
Well, Hoyom Bentenki Guigo Sahud Lalo, the person that has been out of commission for a while. And here he comes again. Good afternoon, Pap Samba. It's good to have you back on a regular, normal Sunday.
Well, good afternoon. I am back. Sarian.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for holding the fort, because I know that you did all the heavy lifting. You know, and I'm sorry, because I know you're licking your wounds. You and
My brother.
Me and who?
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just one of those, you know.
It was. But hey, it's politics. Shit happens, like they say.
What can you do?
You cannot help it. And I've seen a lot of analysis. I'm like, this this thing. What do they call it? Monday morning quarterbacking.
Yeah.
All over.
I don't know all about that, man.
It's just utter nonsense. You cannot, before the elections, claim that this lady was running such a great campaign. They lost, and then all of a sudden now, oh no, maybe they did not do very well. Listen, people go to the polls and vote however they want. It doesn't matter,
Well, it's just nonsense. So if you make it it's a lot of punditry, and everybody 2020 hindsight. Oh, this and that, and this is what he was supposed to do, and that and that. I'm so sick of it. I don't even want to listen to it. I mean, the bottom line is very simple. Ultimately, is the voters that will decide.
Of course.
I mean, whatever their reason is for voting Trump back into office, it's on them. I mean, it is what it is, and that's
and you know what is sad, Samusa Amoy? Voting Trump, that's a lose-lose situation for America. I've seen all these dumb people talking about, oh, he is going to bring the man effed up the economy in the first place, or he's going to end the war. This was the same guy who decided to say, you know what, we will have a 2,000-pound bomb. Let's try to test it somewhere, and dropped it in Afghanistan for no reason. He was in fact unprovoked. This is the same guy that his security chiefs used to hide serious issues from him, because he believed that the only solution to everything is using a nuclear weapon and all these things. So, you know what? And to the Muslims too, if you think Trump is your solution to the Gaza problem, the war might end. But go back to your timelines during every time that Trump was in power, and see how many times Palestinians were being brutalized by Netanyahu and his criminal gang. But again, it is what it is.
I don't know. Hey, so when I click on this comment, for whatever reason this time around, it's all, instead of showing you people, it's saying Facebook user. Is that something, on the comment?
I saw that yesterday when your program
exactly
with interviewed. Yeah, but you can try other comments and see. Maybe No,
because I haven't done anything differently. I just click on the comments. We're supposed to show, and all it's saying is Facebook user. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing here too.
So I am not sure exactly whether that is just just something new, or maybe Basirundao can help.
Yeah, maybe he needs to come and help.
Maybe it has something to do with the settings. I don't know. But anyway, Sariang, you've been when I didn't hear from my brother after the elections, I'm like but I have to be honest, like Tuesday, I got off work early heading home, and when I got home, bro, and I couldn't really eat dinner. I mean, not only was I nervous, but I just couldn't. I swear to God. It was like, you are going to have a very terrible night. And and boy, did I get a terrible night. It was awful. I've never felt so, I felt really, 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 really bad and sick. I was really sick for 2 days.
Yeah.
Now I've gotten better, no doubt. And, I'm one of those that when I get home, MSNBC, CNN, punditry, analysis. I mean, that's how I watch my TV. And I got home on Wednesday. When I get home, normally the wifey, they'll be watching Theatre Senegalini. So when I get home, they will just hand over me the remote, knowing that I'm going into my thing. The moment they want to hand me the date, buy them coach theater. I don't want to watch no shit. I don't want to hear no freaking punditry. Let me watch the damn theater. Oh my God.
That's funny, man.
Bro, I was so out of it. I'm like, no. That's it. People make decisions, bro. That's why politics is what it is. Individuals are going to make decisions. Whatever some people are saying because she's female and she's a black person, I don't know. Some people are saying it really comes down to the economy. And to some extent, maybe I'm leaning onto that because it looks like all through the polling, whenever they said, who do you trust most in terms of handling the economy? It's Trump. And I kept asking myself, but why? Somehow people seriously believe that this is the man that can fix it. For whatever reason, yes, of course, there's this whole talk about the inflation part. People were feeling it. And that is true. We all remember maybe 3-4 years ago when I walked into farmer's market to buy a whole lamb, it was $120, $130. Now you walk in, it's almost $240. So yeah, definitely prices are up there, but inflation is coming down too, but hey, you know how Americans are. They just believe that let's bring in this guy. He lies. He exaggerates. They somehow believe that he can fix it. Now we will see.
Somebody who is not well. Somebody who has this Stephen Millers and all these people. But anyway, Sari and you, I know you are very invested in this. Even see the gray hair is coming. So
no, it's true. It is what it is. I was optimistic. I even was planning to have a watch party, and actually I left here on Sunday. We went to Tacoma for conference, so we were there. Then we drove back on Tuesday, came back here, and things didn't go out. But I think what I'm proud of is the folks that speak against him. They stood their ground and they didn't, waver. Some of military personnel, some who serve in the defense, spoke about his character and his integrity, and they stood firm and spoke clearly to the American people. And during the course of the campaign, he hasn't given any message that is uplifting, that's going to bridge the divide, but further and further divide people. So today, voters went and did what they wanted to do, and we have to respect that. But I really don't think that there should be any blame game. If you look at the map, there are a few races that needs to be decided, in the West. I think about West in California majority. And if you tabulating those and you think, the other side is still leading, you kind of zoom into what your messaging is about and, what your approach to voters concern. And I think there should be a deep dive into the whole data and analyze it. But again, folks stood up and speak, without fear and said, hey, I would not trust the guy, but the voters did. So, these are folks who've been in the battlefield, who fought for this country, and there's absolutely no bias in what they see. That's what they said, and I don't think the voters take their votes seriously. But you know what? 4 years is not that long. I mean, 2016, we all felt the same way. But what did he do? He just freaking ratchet up to another level. Today we had a black woman on the Supreme Court, right? And there's bright spots, and I think the whole thing about we have a mandate, we're gonna go after these folks, we're gonna pass this. That's when you lose support, and the electorate keeps swinging back and forth. One election cycle there with one party, another one there with another party. So we'll see. Absolutely, if they have the presidency, the Senate, and the Congress, let's see, 2 years. I mean, there's going to be another elections. Republicans are going to defend more seats. Let's see what they get out of it. Let's see what they get out of it. And I think, as you guys said, there shouldn't be no blame game. Democrats should harness and listen to the concern and kind of read the data clearly. What was our message? Why are we not attracting more people? In fact, the economy and this immigration stuff, I watched some family, I think they said they're from Honduras. They crossed the border. Finally, their status got legalized. And but they said, hey, you know what? Is immigration and the economy. I have family members who I'm very sympathetic to their plight, but I've been doing work and I've been having a hard time, and I was torn in between, Harris and Trump. At the end, I say what is best for my family and preserve my business, and I went with that. And as I said, Musa, you said it very clearly. When I look at the data and I understand this, what has he done? Because from Obama to him, he passed him a good economy. He screwed it up. He lost jobs. But still, folks are so fixated knowing that this man is the best person to take care of the economy. And I think that was an opening, and they didn't take care of it. And I think this whole reproductive rights is great. But at the end of the day, you talk about what's in for me. How am I gonna feed my family? I think those are things that they kind of need to work through all that stuff, man. But I really think people needs to form groups. Activists needs to ramp up to another notch, like they did around the country. State attorney generals who are Democrats should be prepared. Anything that he went over the board, they take it to court. That's all it is. You play hardball until the next time. Sanctuary cities needs to be implemented. Folks are here. They you legalize that, but don't grab people and put them in cages and stuff. I'm against that anyway. And I think every Democratic governor should resist and take him to court for that.
Yeah. One problem you have, though, and I think people are very short-sighted about this, is at least for the next 2 years, Americans should be ready for a very serious roller coaster. Trump would try to ramp up everything that he has because they're going to have control of Congress. So it's going to be easy to pass anything that comes, unless it requires a 60-vote thing in the Senate. It's going to pass. And not only does he have control of Congress, he has the Supreme Court that decided out of the blue to see that whatever the president does, he is immune to prosecution. Pretty much now, Trump, who went into the White House 2016, not even understanding the implications of, because he had limitations then. He didn't know what would happen. Now he's going 2024, January 2025. And now his hands are free to, whatever you do while you're here, nobody can prosecute. Because the Supreme Court spoke, unless there is an amendment or a bill passed in Congress to that effect, which is not going to happen. So what you're going to have is somebody and Trump is surrounded by very dangerous people. And that is the problem that we have. Sometimes people will look at Trump and say, this guy is senile. Trump is unhinged. But you have the Stephen Millers of this world. You have all the Project 2050 that he was rejecting because it was unpopular. That's what you're going to have. They will try to implement whatever it is. Trump doesn't give a damn about all those things. And you have all these people who surround him. And you know what's going to happen? The next time a cop kills a black man, which is going to happen again very soon, and people go out in the streets, let's see what's going to happen. This is a guy who is talking about, militarizing the street itself, using the military to quell this thing. He's the commander-in-chief.
Yeah, but the commander-in-chief cannot give illegal orders. You are sworn to protect and uphold the country. No, you're going to see a serious conflict here. I'm just telegraphing to you what's going to happen, and there's going to be a disorderly conduct, right? So basically, as a service member, if you are a commander of a battalion whatsoever, if they tell you to go out there and shoot, and which he could by the National Guard, but the National Guard fall under the authority of state governors.
Yes.
So he has to work through that. So the state governors, hold on a minute. He can mobilize National Guard under Title C, which is if the Congress declare war and through presidential powers, he has the mobilization. But if that's not it, how is he going to go? He doesn't have the clear mandate. I mean, both these things, they have to pass it through the House and Congress and Senate. Senate requires 60 votes. The only 51 votes applies to his cabinet and judicial appointments. Everything else, the filibuster, thank God, Democrat didn't bust it. I mean, they could have regretted now, but still have the 60 votes stand.
And what makes you think this man is not going to do away with the filibuster? He will do it. He will tell these idiots at the Senate to do away with it. If he has a bill out there and that's supposed to be passed, and the filibuster becomes a problem, I can guarantee you, Trump, he would do it.
Well, I'm not. There are people too. Let's also remember, Musa. Let's also remember the two people within the Democratic Party. They stood for this. The one from Arizona and West Virginia. They said no. Let's not get too emotional about reproductive rights. This conversation came in when they wanted to pass the right for women to choose, and they wanted to kind of get away with filibuster, right? So, what's her name, man? The lady who get out, and now they won. I think the Democrats going to be. Yeah, but here's it. I think that's where remember, all the states that these Republicans are from, some are very popular areas that are swing states. So if you go on the extreme and you pass an agenda, especially telling military folks to go out there and shoot Americans, that's something that you got to reflect on very deeply.
I don't know about shooting Americans. I don't know about that. But I'm just.
What do you mean? What you don't know about?
He may not shoot Americans, but Trump has been advocating for full immunity for police officers. All right. Now, during the last administration, you can see a lot of restraint from the police. And let's even remember why Biden won the last elections. Because of George Floyd killing, got everybody riled up. People were inspired and ready to vote. That was what was missing in these elections. It's not like people, but I don't even see it as people hated Kamala to the extent that they did not go and vote for her. It's just that I don't think a lot of people went out and voted as they did in 2020. 2020, everybody and their mama.
But I thought that the voter turnout was higher though in 2024.
No, but he did not hit the threshold. He did not get the vote. Look at the tally though, even for Hispanics and blacks, and the women voters.
Yeah, because they voted for Trump for whatever the hell. Yeah. I cannot even believe that Hispanics, the man has been insulting them. The man has been threatening them for deportation. And for whatever the hell the reason is, Sudan Africa because I'm like, what the hell? The guy that calls you all the names in the book, the guy that basically said, you know what, you ain't even worth anything. And when I take over, because you guys are the problems. You guys are the immigrants eating pets. He didn't even mince his words. and you still believe he has the answers for my well-being. My friend, wow.
Oh.
I can't just put my arm around it. And one more thing.
American voters are not the most
One more thing. Go to the supposedly blue states. Yinga hamne all past elections, by 8 o'clock, they've called them for, whether it's New Jersey. Come 9:30, 10 o'clock, they haven't even called New Jersey. Minnesota, same thing. Virginia did not even fall. Very competitive. Massachusetts, oh my God, of all places. It took a while. So
but if you go back, Musa, if you actually go back into the data, say for example, New Jersey, rural New Jersey, Trump won handedly, even in California. So it's not. Look at the state tally, but look at the counties each, and he won. He swept. That's why the result, it was late for them to count, because I was watching them because I was following Chuck Todd doing his analysis, and I actually went on the internet. You look at those, he was very competitive on those, and that's why I think it's more than just the representation is Biden or Kamala, but what were the points that were really missed? Even Illinois, I was watching the governor.
Exactly.
The governor, Trump has 8 points more than when he got in 2016. So that's where critical, and you got to do a deep dive into the analysis and what are we missing? I mean, what sort of messages are we so far apart from the voters, and are we not listening to the voters, their concerns? What can we do? Do we need to change our policy and all these things? So all these things need to come into play with the political operatives and kind of reflect on it and see, because if the blue state in the rural areas, he's being competitive. So that kind of.
But what happened to prior elections?
You can discount racism and sexism.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You can.
I mean,
now Hillary was a white female. All right. Obama, black, white mother, and all that stuff. Kamala would have been the only straight up black. No, this thing is like a black or Indian, total immigrant or so. And sometimes we act like this country has changed. There is a reason why Trump is attractive to some of these people, because they believe in the nonsense that he feeds them, because that's what they believed in. For a long time, they sat on it. They could not say it out loud. Trump came and gave them became the echo chamber for their beliefs. And that's the thing. Musa, let's just look at even American politics and where it is. Howard Dean, 2000. And his campaign ended because he stood at a podium. We are going to this thing. We are going to the guy. That's unpresidential.
Yeah,
that was the end. A very competent guy.
Yes,
ran his state as a governor very well. He was the first advocate of this universal health care or whatever. Then enter Trump, talking about grabbing pussies and all that stuff,
and didn't pay
something
a price
that
or anything.
Nobody would have ever thought of doing. Who would have thought in American politics that you would come and talk about, what they're sending us, drug dealers, they're criminals and all these things, the things that Trump said. But the thing is, there were a lot of white Americans, let's just say it, and they, who believed in what Trump was saying but could not say it out loud. And Trump came and they said, now that's our guy. Because say whatever you say about crime, and the people that are talking about warmongering Democrats, maybe you've not studied American history. The biggest warmongers in the history of this country have been Republicans. Even this Israeli thing. I believe genocide, what's his name? Biden, I've said it here, was a genocidal enabler. But this is Trump we're talking about. There is a reason why Netanyahu was all happy. Because Trump had said clearly that Israel should be given a free hand to do whatever they want to do with the Palestinians and even Iran.
Whatever the hell, the guy doesn't mince his words.
Yes.
And whatever the hell they want to do, they can go ahead and do it. And when you say warmongering Democrats, I want somebody to tell me, what war did Biden actually launch in the past 4 years? What war are they talking about? It was Russia that invaded Ukraine. That has nothing to do with Biden going out there like during the time of George Bush, whether going to Afghanistan or going to Iraq. Actually, it was Biden that withdrew soldiers from Afghanistan. So this warmongering, either the person doesn't know what he's talking about, or he's just listening to narratives that are out there. And the Middle East,
man, it is what it is.
Some of these, like you said, Sarian, when you go to New Jersey or you go to even Illinois, whatever happened, there were, let's say, white voters in the rural areas that they were not voting in numbers. And with this whole talk about immigration and immigrants taking over the United States, and Trump is telling them we need to take our country back, those people were convinced that, you know what, we need to go out there and vote as if there is no tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what made the difference. That is why Trump not only won the Electoral College, but even the popular votes. So if you're talking about, seriously, I think those are the people.
No, I agree. I agree.
Now, you know what? We are going to go out there and vote. That is why it took a while before Illinois was called. It took a while before Minnesota or New Jersey or even Virginia. You know, I mean, everybody knew that Democrats were going to carry it, but they couldn't call it. Because, again, I think rural voters were like, you know what? We need to go out there, vote like there is no tomorrow to take our country back.
Just like black people did in 2020.
Exactly.
Because of George Floyd and others say, you know what, we are going out to vote and we are going to vote massively. And that's just what it is. At the end of the day, to me, it doesn't matter. They voted for who they want, and we have to respect that. That's democracy. And I've even seen people blaming the pollsters, but I think you cannot blame them because it was polling. That's why they said it's polling. It's not necessarily something that is empathic. It's like, you know what, based on, and these are not people who just go and write something. No, they speak to people. I can talk to you, Sarah, and say, who are you voting for? And you tell me I'm voting for Biden. Election day comes, you go and vote for Trump. So because polling has never been accurate that to say, oh, you know what, this, but, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. It's just sampling based on empirical evidence, and then, you know, what happens. But anyway.
Yeah, but you know, you cannot blame polling. I mean, each campaign has their own data guy who crunch numbers in and see where things are. That's how they craft their messaging and all that. So whether attacking him works or it doesn't work. So I really don't think that's a start at all. I mean, I think each campaign invests a lot of money into, you know, polling and creating data, different demographics and stuff, you know. But I think the one thing, even in Milwaukee, I saw African American men who said, you know what, the folks that are coming in here, they have more benefits than we do, and they are giving them handouts and stuff like that. You know, when we go to work, people don't hire us because they wanted to hire these guys under the table and all that stuff. I mean, you know, you can go in round robin, and I mean, is it real? I mean, immigrants wants to do whatever to survive and take care of their families. Some of those works have been sitting here for years and years. They don't want to do it, so it creates this rivalry, and the blame kind of goes into like the status quo. They are the ones who had open borders and all that stuff. So you know.
No, it is what it is, and I've seen.
I think 4 years is not that far away, and 2 years
is going to be easy. To me, whatever you say about Trump should have never been president of any country again after what he pulled January 6th. I don't see any serious democracy that would allow a guy like that, and the guy is a convicted felon. In this country, most states, you cannot vote if you are a convicted felon.
I don't know, man. You know,
in the United States, when you are hired for a job, they do a background check, and it comes up that you've been convicted not as only a felon, but for misdemeanor itself. There is a great chance you will not get that job. Nobody's going to hire you. But now we have a convicted felon, as the president of this country, somebody who does not respect democracy, somebody who does not respect the rule of law, somebody who respects nothing but Trump. But again, at the end of the day,
maybe
we can sit here and talk until the cows.
Maybe I should not say this, but like I think one thing that came to my mind is clearance. Right? You have secret and you have top secret.
Yep.
On that questionnaire itself, it's very, very explicit. Ask you about criminal, felony, all that stuff. And they go in there, they do an intense investigation, ask your neighbors, all these things, interview them, blah, 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 before your clearance is granted. Now, thinking about the conviction, and that person is going to sit in and hear intelligence briefing. I mean, this is something that I spoke to my past colleagues about, and even you had a ding on your record, even tickets. They will make you sign a statement and all that stuff, and blah blah. But now here we go. Someone's going to be privileged with this information.
And these
so you wonder what the system is all about. But you know what? That's my last.
Trump has been able to turn the American democracy into a joke. And you know what? That's just what it is. And this is not, I don't like Trump. Because, in fact, I have never liked him. Just full disclosure. Even before he became a politician, I've ever seen him as a self-serving asshole. I never liked him. I just always think he is a horrible human being. You know. But again, it is what it is. People vote. They saw two people and decided they want the felon to be our president.
And a 78-year-old man. So don't forget to add that one too.
Yeah,
you know?
and they
it's going to be 80 years in 2 years. So
he's a guy who has bankrupted 11 businesses.
So
you know, inflate his earnings and all that, messed up the economy. But at the end of the day, like I always tell Musa, you the American voters are not any more sophisticated than we the Gambian voters. I don't even think we'll go this far.
Unless they vote for issues. Give them credit though. If they felt that someone they disagree with that person, they vote them out. So now coming to Gambia, we go with the status quo. Whether it's good or bad, we're happy. So with that,
well. Man fim neka karama dem keri ayisa mo wan ma cebu jini man lolo ma yobuwala.
Welcome to Kid Aisha Restaurant. We are located at 1460 Boston Road in the Bronx. We are open 7 days a week from 1 to 12 a.m. We serve Senegambian food and American soul food on Wednesdays and Senegambian food all 7 days. We do dine-in, we do takeout. We serve chebujin, chebiapa. We do mafe, we do plaza, we do every other day. We have yassa ganat with rice, super kanja with white rice and fufu. We serve a lot of delicious foods. For dinner, we do dibi, chicken dibi, penta, whole chicken. We have shawarma, lots of good food. Also offer catering services for weddings, baby showers, birthday parties, whatever you need, we got it here at Kid Aisha. You can call us at 718-450-8606. And we're also on Uber Eats. And if you've ever been to Kid Aisha, make sure you leave a review. Thank you guys for supporting, and we hope to see some new faces.
Tell me when I can make a phone call to New York City for my DB and be put in an ice box and send it to me right here in Atlanta. Why Balama Def Lulu? What is Global Travels telling me? I'm ready to go home in December and in January. And bro, you live in the diaspora? You want to live in a nice apartment? Viewers, you see it. Those are quality houses and apartments. And again, you know how now global travels will global properties will take care of you. Call Milan. Let's go to the next one, my friend.
New World International in its work to educate and sensitize overburdened communities regarding environmental justice. The meaning environmental justice is the idea that everyone should have equal protection from environmental risks and harms and equitable access to a healthy environment. NWI believes people should be meaningfully involved in decisions that affect the environment and human health. Here are some things you can do to help protect the environment. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Volunteer for cleanups. Conserve water. Shop wisely. Use long-lasting light bulbs. Plant a tree. New World International in collaboration with the Washington State Department of Ecology will help provide training and equipment to help document and end environmental abuses. If you have any questions, contact New World at www.newworldinterantional.org.
All right. That's New World
Chicken over
International.
dami mafang and all that. Need the Costco bakery balaje. Yes, shrimp fenko nyanga sana ya samana majane pita.
Okay, my man, Seriang.
I think the Badibuka is preparing for whatever it is, shrimp and chicken.
So. Now that's it for American elections. I mean, but next week, obviously, Senegalese, they do have their legislative elections. It's going to be interesting. But people are commenting they want to get into Gambian politics. But that would be another thing too. You know, this passive revolution, they were able to win, a commanding defeating of Macky Sall on the 17th. They're going to have legislative elections. Their people, their organization, Sencat here in Atlanta, they've already called me. They've booked Savannah so that Senegalese can go ahead and vote. And anytime they called me, the negotiate prices, how much I should charge them, I get so jealous and envious. I'm like, why in the hell couldn't we do the same thing? If these people are paying me some $800, $900 on a Sunday to have their people vote, and you're telling me we don't have the money budgeted for Gambians in Atlanta to vote, I'm like, what kind of money are they talking about? How much does it actually cost to make sure that we vote? Is it a financial problem? Or is it a lack of political commitment? They said it's about budget issue. Why man I need
it's not about budget issue.
To tell me why
it's not
is it financially impossible, logistically impossible for us to vote?
Musa, whenever we make it a budget issue, we are giving them an excuse. It has never been about budget issue. And I want to maintain still that the past elections, the diaspora was part of what was budgeted for. The reason why we are not voting is because of President Barrow. The government, in cahoots with the IEC, does not have the political will for us to participate in the process. Simple as that. And they do not even respect the very democracy that they are talking about, the participatory democracy that they're talking about, Musa. It's not for legal reasons. It's not for financial reasons. It's mainly for political reasons. Legally, we are guaranteed the right to vote by the Constitution of the Gambia, and the Supreme Court affirmed that when we went to the courts. Financially, not only was it budgeted for, but there are partners willing to help in financing it to happen. And it's not for logistical reason, Musa. Jibril Fall and his organization had worked and provided all the necessary data with regards to population of Gambians in the diaspora, where they lived, how many lived there, where they were concentrated, and all that. All the data that they need, the information that they need was readily provided for them. So it's not for budgetary reasons. Yefi nit ko bon la. sohor anyan. Because of to them, they feel because Musa Jeng has an opinion against this government, Syrian too will not support us. That's just what it is.
I don't wanna nakalenko angalede oede when in your parade. Why linga wax dafa xawa yomba? It really comes down to the Independent Electoral Commission and President Barrow. I think it's much, much more to it than that. There are political parties and leaders. We do have the National Assembly. Why are they quiet about it? Gambia doesn't belong to them. It doesn't. If they believe that Gambians in the diaspora are citizens, they are supposed to vote. And constitutionally, we should be able to vote. What is stopping the opposition parties to organize mass mobilization? We are supporting every Gambian to be able to vote. So we cannot just, yes, I do agree, but it's not committed for us to vote. Totally agree. Independent Electoral Commission, based on what the power was saying before, he was absolutely committed that the diaspora should vote. At least that's what his rhetoric was. That's what he was saying. This was the time that he was talking about doing away with the marbles, doing paper ballots, for the logistical reasons so that diasporans can vote. That's what the man was advocating for. Until this technicality, supposedly they have to change the constitution about the number of constituencies that are out there, all that nonsense. While Lima Moine, Gambia belongs to all of us. And if I could steal Dr. Ceesay's line, Bayiken Momoko. Now then, political leaders also, the Halifa Salahs, the Esafals, the Alaji Usainu Dabos, the Talib Bensoudas, the Youngs Dabos, they should come together and say, look, we have citizens that are actually contributing every year $700 million. We cannot disenfranchise them. Have you ever heard any one of them really taking this issue seriously and putting it out there? So they don't even pay any lip service to it. What happened to the National Assembly? Is that the most important thing to them? I don't believe it. So affair me, my friend, there's a lot more to it than just Neis Barrow and the IEC. I think we have blame to go around. If you ask me, what say you, my brother?
Well, the blame squarely lies with the executive. Now, let's not downplay that stuff, right? Yes, the opposition can amplify their voices, but the funding and the whole structure and process, it comes up. The executive needs to lead on this issue. They need to. I mean, they send their central bank guy to come around diaspora talking to people about some special purpose funding vehicle. I think squarely, if you want your folks, as he said, let's remember 2016. He claimed that diaspora play a huge role in ensuring that we usher democracy in Gambia. So this whole thing, yes, National Assembly is there, but let's look at the composition of the majority. I mean, it's a divided house, and some just vote for the status quo. So obviously, this whole thing belongs, and he needs to make it a priority. And it comes into question why lack of willingness to ensure that they work with the National Assembly to pass the law and ensure that folks that live outside the Gambia is not disfranchised. I mean, it's no given, man. It's no given. We can go in there and start blaming and pointing, but the whole squarely lies with the executive, Musa Jeng, and the IEC.
I agree with you that there's absolutely no doubt that they are not committed. I don't know about the IEC. I'm absolutely convinced that Barrow is not committed to that. But again, what I'm saying is, these people, they're not lame duck either. Is this particular issue important to them? I'm just saying, you telling me that they are impotent, there's nothing that they can do about this. I totally disagree.
That's your word. That's not mine.
No.
Let's make this very, very clear. I did not say that they are important, and that's your word, not my word, because I just spoke.
What we need to be very careful about this issue, Musa. Yes, the opposition, us in the diaspora, we should raise our voice some more. But let's not also talk about it to the extent where it looks like without them speaking, we would not vote. Barrow is elected and given a responsibility to do as the President of the Republic. The IEC, they are giving a responsibility to do. It is only the executive that can present a budget before the National Assembly. And it is only the IEC that can request for a budget. There is nothing in the Constitution, in the Election Act, that prohibits the IEC from saying that, you know what, we are going to register the diasporas. Let's look at this issue squarely, where it is. When they had the first schedule for diaspora vote, for the vote, the registration of voters, were we not present in it, Musa? Diaspora? We were initially. That's why they budgeted, if I still remember that, 122 million, which was voted for by everybody in the National Assembly. Only for the IEC to come now and renege. Even when you talk about the ballot issue, the diasporans had worked with the IEC, Jibril Falls MSDG organization, and came up with a plan where you can have a hybrid system where the diaspora, it will be paper ballot, and in the Gambia, they can use the marble. And there is nothing in the Constitution that says you cannot do that. So one thing, I understand where you're coming from, Musa, but let's not make it to where now Barrow can have a leeway and say, you know what, if Barrow wanted this thing to happen as he said in his campaign, and it's supposed to happen as the Constitution is supposed to be respected, then we will not be having this conversation.
Look.
So I understand where you're coming from.
Whatever disagreements we have, it's not about. I absolutely agree that the man, Barrow, is not committed to that. But again, we happen to live in a country where there is what we call an opposition. Do you remember the man called National Assembly member Jiba from somewhere? Is it from the Fonyi Kansala? One of those? The guy that came with a private member bill about this FGM. Are you telling me the opposition in the National Assembly, they cannot get their act together if this issue is important to them?
So, but there is one point you are missing. Let me help you. There is one issue you are missing. No, you cannot bring a private member bill on any bill that is going to incur cost on the state. That cannot be done through a private member bill.
At the end of the day, Buku must help.
No, but he's trying to explain. He is educational.
Go ahead.
Because at the end of the day, budget determines if the National Assembly doesn't pass a budget, it's not going to go anywhere. All the executive can do is present a budget to the National Assembly. They have the powers to say, feel and your disposal, feel and problem. Our politics since independence, we have capitulated powers to the executive. There is this psychological, what I would call defeat. Unless and until the executive wants something, it's not going to happen. You go to other countries, I mean, even if you have minority in the National Assembly, if you're committed to an issue, you fight for that issue, the executive will come and there will be a compromise. Why change is not going to happen unless and until the executive do this and do that, and we all get into this blame game. Again, what I'm saying is I'm not holding briefs for the executive. Because I know, just like Jammeh was not committed for us to vote, neither do I believe that Barrow is, because he thinks that he doesn't have the votes. So what are we supposed to do? Man, Lola Bugan explain Alma. Are we just going to take it?
Musa.
We can here in the diaspora, we can raise the issue all we want. But there is also a need for a clarion call from the Gambia as well, from political leaders, from the National Assembly, to make this issue that this is important. But if you ask me, I'm not seeing that. And again, I am not saying that to excuse Barrow is not committed for us to vote.
All I'm saying, I understand what you're saying, Musa. Like the diaspora, I don't think there is anything more that we can do. So people will say, well, maybe don't send money. Who is going to do that? Nobody is going to sit on their money and not send it to their families because of food. That's not going to happen.
That's nonsense.
We had followed the processes that needs to happen. Like I alluded to here, there have been so many steps taken by the diaspora.
I'm not talking about the diaspora.
And I believe, yes, the opposition, or not only opposition, but politicians should be a lot more vocal about this issue. But Musa, let's also look at our politics. I don't think we have a very effective opposition in our country, especially when it comes to elections. Musa, most of the issues that are raised in that country that affects even the opposition come from outside of the opposition. Sibopa. And maybe they would jump on it. Let's look at even the IEC and its makeup. I'm going to inject myself in this again. I have argued that the chairman's term expired since 2018. No one in the opposition will come and tell you, you are wrong. But nobody wanted to at least face up to it and say, you know what, we have to. That's where it starts, Musa.
But why is that though? Doesn't that tell you something?
I think that's just the laziness of Gambians.
Excuse. If you know it, no balalmade, ninga buga help, I'm gonna help you. If you know it,
why bugo macha help? And Musa, I know where you're coming from, and this is why, to me, I have no sympathy, zero sympathy for this call of elections were not free and fair. I think to me, I say, so what? You had all opportunities to fight to make sure we have, because at the end of the Musa, if you want something, the IEC is one of the most important institutions that we have in that country. If you're talking about constitution compliant, it is one institution that has to be constitution compliant 100% of the time. Them and the judiciary. All right? But to have all these constitutional problems, uncertainties, and nobody wants to do. Somebody contacted me the other day and said, you know what, we need to go to court to get an explanation on the chairman's term. It's ending in March. But I still believe that even the decision by the government to extend his term, and that was done because of something I said. I'm not taking credit for it, but so be it. Because when I challenged them on the constitutionality of the guy continue to occupy the position, the minister came and said I was wrong. They went to their office, checked in, and said, you know what, he is right, but they could not come back and say that, you know what, we were wrong. So they decided, you know what, we are going to do something which is, unconstitutional in the first place, and decided to expand the guy's term. But the opposition, who are full of lawyers, do not want to take up the issue. And this is where, yes, Musa, I agree with you. What we do not have is effective opposition in our country.
A lone gunman who is living in a small village outside of Maryland is out there saying that the Constitution is being violated and that this person is actually technically not qualified to be the IEC chairperson. And you are telling me that our opposition, somehow, they are just lazy. My friend, that's what we call playing dead. Psychologically, there is this thing there whatever happens, it has to be driven by the by the executive. And either the legislators, they don't know. Look, I understand they don't have the votes in the National Assembly. I understand that. But we're not talking about I mean, we do have a sizable number of people. And also, you're talking about public opinion as well. If this thing is so important to them, let's say Alaji Estabo, let's say the Doi National Assembly member, Swaibu. If these people were to take up on the National Assembly and say, you know what, we have a problem with the Constitution, the IEC chairperson should not be the IEC chairperson. Have you ever heard that? Because sometimes when you challenge an executive, you are also talking to the Gambian people, the Gambian voter, that there is something wrong with the system. So the reason why diaspora we have not been able to vote, it's not because we are not fighting for it. We are. Like Pastor Samba, you said, you guys actually went to court. The Supreme Court, they should be able to vote. Where in the hell is the outcry from the National Assembly members? Or like,
and you know what? Let me agree with you, Sir Fide. I'm gonna frustrate Musa.
Yeah.
When they passed the budget, when the IEC all of a sudden came back, do you remember when Mamburenjai went before the National Assembly and said no, Nakalatura, the diaspora vote was not budgeted for? And I raised the issue that actually that is not true. All of them knew what Mambura was saying was not right. It was not true. It was part of the budget. But to have somebody come out and say, you know what? No. They knew. Because it was part of the and Musa and you see, Gambia has a serious problem. And maybe our opposition must also understand that opposition is not mainly about and all this. You have to be able to raise other difficult issues.
Yes.
You are a powerful institution.
A voice.
In a country. You may not be the majority in the National Assembly, but you should be able to speak with so much clarity, that everybody would know that, you know what, this is what it is. But the problem that we have in that country, and this is why, Musa, Yangi want a transformational leadership. We also need transformational opposition.
We do.
You see, the whole system must be transformational for us to go to the next level. The thing is, we are always very comfortable. The way that we are, our makeup needs to change. So yaram bi tangere, you say, and then we just forget it and just say, you know what, that's fine. You just feel good about it. Musa, look at any issue that Gambians talk about. You can kill somebody today. We'll talk about it for 1 week. Somebody else gets hit by a car tomorrow. That's the whole new topic. The killing is now put to the back burner. That's not important anymore. So, it's not even only the opposition, our civil society. And this is why, man, I appreciate like the Edward Francis Small Foundation. Because at least you have somebody who is proactive, FL there. You see civil society, what do? Where do you even hear them? These are issues that the civil society should have taken up out there and be out there talking about it to the extent because at the end of the day, Musa, here's the thing. Why we should not only just rely on the opposition, on the political party.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you come to power, you are also seeing the diaspora, these people are troublemakers because they would never side with you. So maybe it's not in their interest too. But this is where society. Yeah, maybe it's not. Maybe short term it is in their interest. Barrow up to 2019, he had a good support in the diaspora. At least up to 2018, going to 2019. Because I think 2019 today was when Mr. Dabo and them were relieved from their duties or so. But Barrow was doing fine with everybody. Almost the majority in the diaspora. But things changed. Maybe if this was 2019, Barrow would have registered them right now. These people are my people. But when things change, Now they are on the other side. So who knows? Hussein might become president tomorrow, and it will be fine and dandy for 2 or 3 years. And then the Sarian was saying, you know what, we don't like the way that things are going. He was, Sarian used to be my guy. Now he's on the other side. If you give him the chance to vote, he's going to vote against me. So this is why I believe that civil society must be very proactive to ensure that this thing happens. Because at the end of the day, you cannot leave it in the hands of politicians. Politicians will only look at what is in their interest for the most part. Civil society is supposed to be there to fill that gap, to see what is in the greater interest of the people, whether it is the UDP that is in government or DOI or anything. It's just crazy. But anyway.
I see this guy. Let me put up what he said. Musa Jeng is naive. Whatever Barrow doesn't want to pass in the National Assembly, it won't pass. My friend, I'm not naive. Mamfaring, I think his name is Mamfaring. I am so mad that now it's calling these people Facebook users. I mean, it doesn't help. It doesn't spice up the interaction. So I just called Basiru now so that we can look into that. I mean, you know, all these comments, they just come out as Facebook users. But I mean, what I'm basically saying is, it does not connect. Bus is here. They need to connect their mic cam before you can add them to the stream. I don't know what.
Musa, what are you doing?
I don't know. It's Bus that just came in and said something. I'm trying to read it. But anyway, the guy is saying that whatever Barrow doesn't want is definitely not going to pass in the National Assembly. And my brother, believe me, I know that. All I'm saying is this.
Put up a fight.
Put up a fight. Because at the end of the day, you are going for what I would call, you are speaking to the Gambian people that are out there. Let's say, for instance, what Pasamba said, that the IEC chairperson, somebody who has done a lot, really. He's the one that oversaw the defeat of a dictator, and he called it the way he saw it. We owe him a lot of gratitude. But constitutionally, term and bit of expire. I mean, and then a lone gunman out there was able to call these people out for it. And they couldn't.
Why are you calling me a lone gunman?
Because, no, what I'm saying is it's not an organized entity. Okay. It's an individual. But then you have organized entities in the National Assembly. They are well aware of that. Let's say that they were even lazy, Pasamba. They were not paying attention to that. What would stop them to come and say, you know what? That is absolutely true. Political leaders, the Halifa Salahs, the Alhaji Usainus, and said, there is a problem with this. Because actually it's violating the Constitution. And make a big deal out of it. If they do that, I can guarantee you, change would happen. But when you sit there and you take it for what it is, thinking, well, we don't have the votes, that's why I said since independence, there is this psychology that things happen because of an executive. And whether it's the legislature or public opinion, it doesn't matter. Or civil society, whatever the president wants, the president gets. No wonder we are stuck with an executive presidency. And that needs to change. And you cannot change it without a fight. I mean, that's all I'm saying.
Something has to give. Something definitely has to give.
But
But Sarah, what do you think is the solution? Because you are I know you're still reeling, but you'll be fine, Sarian. Everything is going to be fine. You know.
No. Trust me, I went through this. 2 days of I couldn't even eat.
No, I'm over it, man. Trust me, man. I've been around long enough. I think it's time to move on. And but what I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna be silent. I mean, I stand for my conviction, and I'm very proud for those Republicans who see country first and who stood for conviction. So I really pay no attention to that. I'll move on, man. I'm about to eat a very good benediction today, so trust me. No, Yengala would go. One day, she didn't do anything yet, but I look forward. She promised. She promised that. Mone benachin buratatata. Raulola dewa.
That's what I'm talking about.
I think I'm with you guys. I think this whole issue, yes, we can we can call our battle, but I think also I'll go back to my brother's thing, man. What's his name? Mustafa Suwan. He says this National Assembly is the most inconsequential and useless. Yeah? No. My brother man always said this. If he says this, I laugh. When he comes on this program, he said it. He says, I'm telling you, you guys think, what have they achieved? And he asked this question. He says, what have they achieved? They had loans for their vehicles. They increased their salary. They haven't done anything major in terms of legislative achievement. So what have they done? They are the most inconsequent, useless. So I agree with you, man.
Bro, change is never going to happen on any issue without a fight. Bilahi. And always, I mean, you got to understand too, Baro, they don't really have what I would call a complete majority of some sort. I mean, we do have opposition is there. And that's what they are supposed to do. Baby, you are elected by a constituency with certain beliefs, programs, and policies. And all we are saying is, you also dem better bantababa, chatataga, dage. You stand for the things that you believe in. My friend.
No, that's true. That's definitely true.
And you can do it in a very civil, but anyone listening to you, then you have kini limowa. It's true. So when you have this clarion call and everybody talking about it, for our election to be free and fair, we need a new entity, a new chairperson, because of not that the current chairperson is unqualified, but well, I mean, it's constitutionally, his term has expired. And also, we want to make sure that Gambian citizens all over the world should be able to vote. And let's work on that. Why is making a Jalalulenko? You tankal, kuma wax ne ma rek na ne we're not voting because of Barrow. Manala bulma tankal. There is not more to it than just Barrow.
And Musa, one thing you gotta, if you're observing enough, everyone in the National Assembly gained so much weight, and you see them everywhere. They had these Nyeti Abdus, everything matches, and life is good for them, and they forgot about the small guy. And I think Gambians just needs to be aware that that's not how it's supposed to be, and stood up to them and vote them out. I think that's what it is. It should take that. People start speaking up. I mean, none of them stand up. I mean, that useless procurement bill that they passed. Coach, what was that? I mean, I heard people reeling about it. They said, I think a couple of weeks ago, they passed a bill in the House. I don't know. They were talking about a procurement bill for one of the because I was so into this U.S. politics, I didn't follow. But I saw someone even talking.
What they did foolishly is that they decided that I think 9 institutions or parastatals.
Okay.
Some of them are even government department.
The autonomy to just do their procurement without. So they say, from time to time. I saw my friend Dr. say, I know we'll come to that later. Talking about, no, but no, there'll be oversight. So pretty much a country where corruption is in the mind and mouth and tongue on the tongue of every Gambian. Procurement is the easiest way for people to steal from the state. Now you say, you know what, we're just going to give these 9 institutions a free hand, do whatever you want to do, but from time to time we will check you. By the time you come to check them, there will be nothing left in our coffers. So it's like we are a very, I think, you know what I think happens, Saria? I think we are sending people to the National Assembly who have no idea of why they are there. May not even understand the issues. But there is something else that is happening. You said something there, most of them have now gained weight and all that stuff. Do you know the amount of times when we will not have a quorum at the National Assembly because they all went to attend all these meetings all over the place? This is a National Assembly, and it has not started with this one, where they would go on a tour. Musa Jeng would be part of the tour. They'll be paid their allowances or whatever. Nujala, when they get to Kaur, Musa Jeng would stop. He's not going to go with them, so they would go. But Musa Jeng would continue to get the allowances paid throughout the tour. They are doing that. These are people who will come sometimes just for compliance, mark themselves present so that they would get their sitting allowance, and then they will go. They don't take the job seriously. They don't take the Gambian people seriously. Because at the end of the day, this is why I believe that we should have a voice vote on every issue. In the United States here, for example, and people say, what America does, why should it be different? They're human beings and we are human beings. You can go today in Congress and search Representative Musa Jeng of Georgia, and they will tell you every issue, how he voted, because everything is recorded. So you as the constituent can go back and say, when my issue came up, you voted no, you're not going to get my vote again, or I need an explanation from you. So we have people who do not even understand why they are there. And it's not because they are not educated, no. It's not because, it's just that they don't care. And Musa, and that is not only limited to members of the government, even the opposition. We are run by a group of people who do not give a damn about the livelihood of the Gambian people. And what I want to say to that, they will be laying the budget pretty soon. And I am now reviewing the constitution because I believe that the constitution is violated, because I think the budget is supposed to be laid 3 months before the end of the fiscal year. That has not happened yet. But you're not going to hear anybody complain. Let's look at the manpower budget. Let's look at the allowances that they'll be paying themselves again. That tells you whether there is a government that cares about you, and not only Barrow. I'm not talking about Barrow, because Barrow can write a budget and send it to the National Assembly. He has no control over it after that. The National Assembly has a responsibility within 14 days to pass it. Barrow has a responsibility, if it is passed, to either sign it or it will become the law. He cannot even veto that thing. So the National Assembly is the only institute that can increase or do whatever they want to do with the budget. So let's look at what the National Assembly is going to pay itself, the allowances and all that, and that tells you exactly where their interest lies.
We've been on for the people, by the people for 10 years, and every year you got to budget. Manpower budget. How long you allocate Lini? The next year, how are we allocating this? How are we allocating that? Something allocating. We need to do something much more. The whole damn thing needs to change. Because like you said, in January, we're going to be sitting here, like we've done for the past 10 years, Pastor Amba, going through line by line. And it would not amount to anything. Not a damn thing. You know it and I know it. We went through, there was one that we went through last year. And that's when our good old boy, Mohamed Sabari, all of a sudden thought this was the best budget ever created. And he only said that because he was getting himself ready to flip on the other side. Gambia, our problem is much deeper. Seriously. And like you said, yes, we're going to have a new budget. They're going to go through the same old thing. And then just in the Patatale Bakele.
No, I need to correct myself. It is 30 days before the end of the fiscal year. So let's see.
Fine.
And Musa, the facts are budget bisi you just 30 days between the budget bank.
Was it 2 months ago, 3 months ago? I told you I went to Washington.
Yes.
Your corner. Yeah. For a budget meeting. I know we have a little bitty company, but my friend, we are done with that. It went through some serious approval process. Every line by line. What is it going to mean for the company? Parenenchi. Waiting for January, everything would go smoothly. At least.
They would pass it in a hurry.
But these folks, are they even going to be challenged? in the National Assembly. Yeah, why we have FPAC.
But you know what happens, Musa? Do you know that sometimes the government will take him on a retreat on the budget? Can you imagine here in the budget, Biden, he's taking the Republicans and Democrats to a retreat, and they will tell him, you know what, go F yourself. You know. But
it doesn't matter whether they're minority or not. It doesn't matter whether they have the votes or not.
No,
it really doesn't matter. My friend, you have to challenge something and you really have to mean it. You know?
So they're lazy. They are lazy and they don't care.
Pasamba, lazy. Actually, sir, call it lazy, sir. You are excusing them. Lazy will prevent. They're just looking out for their interests. They are no different from President Barrow. Trust me. It's not even about lazy. Mota Demba on the Fatou Rahman, I said, I am not interested in replacing Barrow. Oh, Musa Jeng Barola. I am interested in replacing the damn system.
Thank you very much. That's what we need to have.
When you take somebody else, you replace him with another person. The person who handle with this budget thing, same system. Allocate the office of the president. Okay, definitely go 600,000. We're just going to pay 500,000. That is not going to develop or bring change to the Gambia. The whole damn thing needs to be overhauled. And replacing Barrow is not going to do it. The system has to change with serious people. And
Musa, Sareng, you run a business. Musa, you run a business, you have a job. I work now with company. And you see, where I work now makes me even understand why America works and how businesses work. Because the accountability aspect of it, where every meeting, you just hate the damn meetings, and you have to come, everything you have to. You see, let me give you an example. You call Madimba, payroll hours, you guys are over by how much? I'm like, what the fuck? So now all of a sudden, these like, what am I going to do? And luckily, we're able to give some expiring hours that, you can use to do what you got. But the thing is, every little thing, Musa, even the people that come to your establishment,
of course,
if you're not converting those people into, spenders or whatever, you are questioned for it. Well, 100 people came, but only 30, got something from here. What were you doing? Were you engaging them? Did you talk to these guys? And but the thing is, in the Gambia, who holds you to account for anything? You go to office at 10 o'clock, ega rek tek salifine secretary bi kuma olifine ma nge ñëwaat dama dem ngénte serian mo am doom bilay ngénte bilay dem ni na ñëwaat go to that ngénte come back 2 o'clock nga ne non dama julli ji tay sa si juma ji la wara julli si jàkka ji and all that stuff. I know a Gambian who fired one of his cousins. He had a business. The guy was running the business. He came and found the store closed. What are you doing? The one on Julie too. He fired him because the guy was from here and went back. Guy he knows what he's doing. That is his business. You have your God, you deal with that, but don't come and. But the thing is, in the Gambia, nobody cares, Musa. This idleness. We need to change our ways. And I think that sometimes, even when you're not careful, when you get in the system, you get carried away. You start acting the same way. You may not even you just like them. Now you start excusing every little thing they do, and that was my segue to coffee time. They know to Facebook. Because that's what you do. You start normalizing things that were abnormal to you when you were not in the system. And you think, oh, Neil and Kodo Hale, but it's just crazy. It's just crazy.
No, I think unfortunately Musajan today, he says he just doesn't want just to change the person in the top at the presidency. He wants system change. I agree with you, Father. I agree. I think
so go ahead. No, NVP la. And I'm like, okay.
No, that has nothing to do. That has nothing to do with MPP. Absolutely not.
Because for the system to change, you also have to have a leadership being a harmony is able to change the system. Adama Barrow is not able to do that.
Yeah.
So, but what we are saying, we cannot just continue to say, you know what? Hey, Genelen Musarek, Dugalen Sariang. No, that's it. There is something that is rotten in that country, and that has to be uprooted. The system has never worked for the Gambian people. It has not. And it's the same damn way of writing budget. It's the same way of running anything. Nothing. Look at even how they run our councils.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
So you need to be in a direct job. You know, oh no, my wife they want to apply. But apply, oh, you are hired on the spot. That's not, and you ask yourself, what are we doing? And for the most part, it is people who are smart. Maybe they have good ideas. But you have to change the system where, Musa, do you know how many people come to me every time and ask, oh, are you hiring? Yes. Or some Africans. Oh, should I come to you, man? No, that's not how it works. Let me show you where to go. You go to this website, you apply, it doesn't come to me, it goes to Human Resources. Human Resources would schedule your interview. I'll interview you and send the notes to Human, and they will determine whether you are hired or not.
They got most more Facebook user. When a serious leader is important, just like Talib Young's Roy and Landing, you should have a good to change the system. My friend, I mean, it's a democracy. You can speak your mind, and I'm not disagreeing with you. Whatever you're malol, understand? Another person is going to say, no, if you bring Halifa, if you bring Swaibu, if you bring in this, then you have a system. Another person say, no, if you bring SFL and you bring this and you bring this, the system change. We got to get away from looking at these things with these partisan prisms. That's what gets us into this mess. We only need to wean ourselves out of it. I'm going to wean ourselves out of that mentality. We will never be able to find solutions. No doubt, no doubt.
But Musa and Saria, you talk and you jump on two things. First, there is the extraordinary summit that is happening in Saudi, the OIC.
Okay, let me get my coffee.
Barrow is the chair of the OIC. Nobody knows whether he's attending or he's not attending. He went to Morocco. What he is going to Morocco for, nobody knows. And I'm thinking, as the chairperson of OIC, isn't that the chairperson who calls for meetings anyway?
I don't know.
But at least in any institution,
I would seriously believe they're having an OIC meeting.
You would be informed. You know what? We have to hold this meeting.
So let me understand. They're having an OIC meeting in Saudi.
Yes. So, but nobody knows whether. I know Jumai is going, but the chairperson of the OIC, nobody knows whether he's going or not.
They're having an OIC meeting in Saudi, being organized.
Yes.
And Barrow has nothing to do with it, and he's not going.
Nobody knows whether he is. No, nobody. The fact is, there is a meeting in Saudi.
And it's an OIC meeting.
OIC.
Okay.
Barrow happens to be the chairperson of OIC.
Yes.
We were told by the government that Barrow was going to Morocco. He's in Morocco now.
Mm-hmm.
But what we do not know is whether Barrow is attending the meeting as the chairperson of OIC. If he is not, why isn't he? Because this is not no ordinary, like they say, it's a statutory meeting. I think this would fall under such a meeting. Why is he in Morocco? I don't know. Is he attending the meeting? I don't know. So this is the confusion. It's an emergency meeting, and I'm thinking if it is an emergency meeting that has to do with the OIC, the chairperson of the OIC should be sitting and chairing such a meeting.
Yeah.
So maybe the government would help us and tell us. Maybe Dr. Ceesay would tell us on Tuesday whether the president is going and all. But talking about that, Musa, I know you had the back and forth between your future transformational leader, Dr. Ceesay, against Mari Jobate and Alaji Barrow. So, what's your whole thing? I know you are a very good
I was on coming. I think let me hear you guys. I was on Fatou Rahman Dimba, and we talked about it. And my position is very clear, and that is Dr. Ceesay, and my advice to him. My first disclaimer was to say that I do like Dr. Ceesay. Really. I saw him as a young man with a lot of potential, seriously. And the fact that he had what it takes to form a political party at its infancy, and it's commendable. His problem, which you remember when we were at Batambedu's for lunch, I told him this, that I believe na yodanga hawa yakamti a little bit. You cannot build a party today and to change a system that has been around for 60 years. So I think do due diligence. Apparently, what we are witnessing is that same problem. The young man is very ambitious. Nothing wrong with that. The young man's sweet parties make a political calculation and he wants to join Barrow. Nothing wrong with that. In politics, people do that all the time. But what is really happening now, the man is undermining, and I think we even talked about this, Sarian, was it 2 weekends ago? He's undermining his own, what I would call his own political career. Because as a young person, you cannot be that short-term oriented. That I'm going to do or say things that will help me in the short term. For somebody with a PhD in political science, the man is not a dummy. I have to believe that. But in terms of decisions that he's making, for someone who really cares about him, I think he's making, fundamental errors, forced errors that are totally unnecessary. You had a position. You were attacking this government. You are different from a technocrat who was handpicked and made a minister. You were on the other side. You had beliefs. That's fine. Now you come and join them. You make that political calculation. Whether people like it or not is their business. But what is important though, you cannot abandon principles that you held, because people are going to see you as you are not authentic. People are going to see you, you are deceptive and you are a fraudster. And rightly so, and be cynical about you. And I'm going to just take one issue after another, Saria. This third term thing. Like Pasamba highlighted on Coffee Time, and we all been talking about it, even the CA constitution is for a 2-term. They believe in it. Dr. Ceesay has been talking about that. So if the question comes in, I don't know the context that interview was done, where he was banging the table, by Ken Momukos, President you believe in that. You are representing a current government as Minister of Information. Your job is to articulate the position of the government. That's all you need to do. And I'm telling you, he has a lot of ammunition to do just that. If they ask you, well, we're going to make sure that the president is not going to run for 3rd term, you're like, look, this is what I believe. I believe that based on, I'm a leader of a party that we believe in a 2-term limit. I believe it then and I believe it now. The government that I'm representing now, they believe in 2-term limit. That is why the 2020 draft that was sent to the National Assembly, it had 2-term limit. Actually, the current 2024 that was gazetted, it has 2-term limit. So all I can tell you is this government is committed to a 2-term limit. Now, in terms of whether Barrow is going to run in 2026 another term, what I know is what I know. That is why we want to change the 1997 constitution to bring a new constitution. Stick with that. Don't represent NPP. Don't represent Barrow. That is not your job, my friend. Your job is to represent the government by representing us, the people. Be very political about it. Yes, I get it. But what he did, to me, was not only a mistake, a big faux pas. And maybe it's lack of experience. Seriously. And then the typical Gambian tendency to take things personal. Sariang will tell me something that I don't like. I'm going to put it right back at him. And not only deal with the stick to the issues, do not have lolude. I'm going to go personal. And when you go personal against Alaji Barrow and you go personal against Mahdi, and then you were making up stuff, everything kind of fell flat. And that's the unfortunate part. And Dr. Ceesay needs to go back and rethink what kind of an information minister he wants to be, because he's losing people. Now, the people that they don't like you, they don't like you. The people that don't belong to your party, they don't belong to your party. People are going to level criticisms against you. But all you can be is to be honest. Don't overspin. Don't do any of that. What he said about Alaji Barrow, like I said on Fatou Rahman's show, he's a coward. That's not true. Somebody who will buy assault weapons in the United States, that person is a coward? Really? Them and Bankamane, they were buying weapons, assault weapons. Cowards don't do that. Musajeng wouldn't do that. 80% of Gambians, 99% of Gambians living in the diaspora at that time will not do that. You became an advanced team, them customs in the Gambia during the time of Sri Lanka, to receive those weapons. The last time I checked, cowards don't do that. So, to level those charges just to get even, I think it was a mistake, and a huge mistake. And I hope he learns from it. He's a young man. People do make mistakes. He learns from it and he moves on. I mean, man, that's my take, definitely. Yep. Like the congressman from Louisiana. The congressman from Louisiana. I'm gonna dem my views. If you don't like it, I can change them.
Yeah, Musa, I think we spoke about this.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, but that was before the attacks, though, because we talked about the issue on Sunday. Then Tuesday was when he went and attacked them. So we've not had a chance because the attacks did not happen.
No, we talked about it last Sunday.
No, what we talked about was because of some of the other things that he was talking about. So because of, if you remember, Tuesday was when which Tuesday did he go after?
No, it wasn't this past Tuesday. It wasn't this past Tuesday.
Yes, it was.
Oh, this past Tuesday.
Yes.
No. Oh, okay. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was election day, American election day. That was when he had that interview. So they responded on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so because what has happened is it has gotten so much bigger. I mean, it's like every time we have to come and talk about what Dr. Ceesay said or should not have said the previous Tuesday. Because when we spoke last Sunday, it was because of him talking about Barrow Dinaron Bedur Tabolbi.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had not gotten to where he now called Mahdi Jobate suffering from idleness and bitterness and Alaji Barrow being a coward and all that nonsense. But anyway, boss man.
Yeah, so I agree. I mean, Musa wholeheartedly, as you said, we all like him. And as I said, going back many years in Brikama, her mom and my mom are good friends. And my younger brother who lives in Atlanta and him are good, close friends as well. But that doesn't take us the fact that I think when you go out there, you have to reflect, on what you say and what your position is as an information minister. And they have great opportunity to guide Barrow one way or the other, not double down. I think what I've seen consistently, even on most of the Tuesdays, Peter will go through a lens and say, hey, but you said this. And there was one time he says, don't make me call you an L word, right?
Yeah.
So I think as a young man who has taught at the university political science and the 3 years, a third term, he lambasted Barrow in the past. The videos are out there about he renegade on his 3-year commitment and all that. So when you get down there and honestly, you lost your composure and get really frustrated and angry, and you go in and call people Nui. And the last time I checked, man, I'm not his no. I'm his big brother. So, and I don't want Barrow to run for third term. I think he did what he did. He needs to pass the baton and move on, right? So, but when you go out there and especially you start especially. Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Most.
Yeah.
It's sorry. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when you go in there and start pouncing and start attacking people in the diaspora, it becomes a problem, right? It kind of calls into question what your motivation is. And as a minister of information, you can defend as much as government programs and policies, but don't get out there and start picking up every fight. You should be responding to every criticism, using labels, personal attacks and all that, calling people cowards and all that stuff. What does coward stand for? I mean, first, I'll be very thankful to those folks, people like Alaji Barrow and all that, who went out there. First of all, when they knew that Jammeh, first of all, he has all these arsenal at his disposal, and he has actually the might to withstand their fight. With all that, with their family, they took the risk and went out there, and that was the very first punch that they did to Jammeh, and that results in Jammeh's down. Because if he doesn't remember, we can chronological the timelines here. Because when they did that, April, these folks went out there and demonstrated at Westfield. UDP went out and everything bent loose, and that was the downfall of Jammeh. And you have to understand that. But when you call people, because you are in a position of authority, picking petty fights, exchanging words with folks, it undermines who you are. And he needs to be very, very careful. He wrote an op-ed about, I'm going to apologize. He went to the platform that Musa is saying and was very, very defensive about it. And he doubled down. It doesn't work that way. You can say all the stuff that you went through. I have this respect for diaspora, but this is the stuff that they all said. I was talking to one of the ministers when we were talking about energy and all that. He says, you guys sit in the diaspora there. I said, don't say that. That's the problem. Yeah. I've worked in an energy sector for 18 good years. I understand how these things work. But the fact that you guys thought we sit here, we talk about issues that we don't understand, I think that is not factual. And I think you guys are on the wrong trajectory. That's why that country, the energy sector didn't work. Because if people talk about their different way of how you guys could do things better, you guys took that criticism personally, like you guys own Gambia. People come and pass, right? How many energy secretaries do we have? How many justice ministers do we have? They pass the button and move on. But the fact is, we have to have a dialogue. And Ismaila, of all people, he is a political science professor. He taught kids. He knows in the realms of political discourse, it's about persuasion and put your thoughts out there, not being personal and getting into the trenches. If you do that, you lost it. I mean, Mahdi is an activist. If I was him, we'll have a dialogue. We'll talk and smooth our relationship and not be pasturing, man. If that is his position, somehow the man is gonna give him more recognition. I think that's a wrong route to take. And people really, really felt that when he came out and say, I'm not gonna. But when you go back the next day, you started picking up these fights with folks. I mean, you lose the debate. And there is a lot in the archive. People ask, oh, you said this last year. Now you are saying this. You are saying this. You are saying this. It doesn't help you at all. And I hope he reflects on these things. And we want him to succeed. I mean, whoever he wants to associate, that's his right. I respect him for that. But when you go in there, when people say corruption, you say there is no corruption.
Yeah.
Security lapses. There is no security lapses in this country. Yeah. What are the measures that what are you looking? What data points are you looking that people are not looking? I mean, so these are things that, whether it's inexperience, whether it's deliberate, but I think when he doubled down on a lot of situations, then it becomes a habit, and that this is who he is, and that's something that you don't want to be at. I mean, you know, I think it's totally wrong, man. Definitely.
Yeah, and Musa, I agree with everything that you guys said, and I've seen Fabakari talking about, yeah, you know, I'm not defending Doctor, but what he said, I agree with him. They're using activism as a cover for politics. I think that is the biggest misrepresentation of the facts. And it is nothing new, though, how activists, especially Gambian activists, have been characterized, whether it was Jammeh, whether it is Barrow. And for the most part, anybody who goes very hard, you know, against this government is pretty much labeled as being a UDP sympathizer. You know, I've suffered the same thing. I've had Alaji Girigara, Panjai Girigara call me Mandobi Usenu Dabola and all that stuff, because I happen to share a view different from that of the government. And even Timey Jammeh, we used to be labeled as, when we did what we did, protests and all this thing, is the UDP that was always blamed. And this was why when we held him hostage, he went and had Sabali read the statement. Now, Fabakari, I'm not saying you said you agreed with what he said, but I think you said that you understand where he's coming from by saying that some of these people use activism as a cover, you know, for politics or so. Madi Jobate, if Madi wanted to be a politician, I don't think Madi is one person who is going to hide what he wants to be. He's never shown that color. There's a guy who was one of those who was contacted by the UDP to lead them in 2016. He could have easily been president of the Gambia. He turned it down. You know, Madi is as activists could come. But you see, the issue here is, how do you in fact separate activism from politics? They use these things. Oh, these are politics. They are not activists. John Lewis, you think that there was a bigger activist than John Lewis in the United States most? Mr. Good Trouble?
Definitely.
He was a politician. He ran for office, but his activism could never be questioned. Jesse Jackson was known in the political circle as an activist. He ran for the presidency of the United States. Cornel West, one of the biggest activists, was he not on the ballot for presidency of the United States? Nelson Mandela, was Nelson Mandela not an activist? You would recall him that he was not an activist with all the fight that he fought? And what is activism? I think if there is one word that has been butchered so much, is activism. What it is believe in something, an ideal, and willing to fight for it. Whether using a political pulpit to fight for it or other means to fight for it. You may choose to be apolitical, but there is nothing that says that being an activist doesn't mean that you can be a member of a political party or a politician. I'm a member of a political party. But nobody's going to take activism away from me, because when I speak based on my conscience, and that's what politics is supposed to be about. Even if you understand this Western politics, the Republicans, they are hardcore activists based on what they believe in. But the thing is, I think like with Dr. Ceesay, as you said, why would you see, sometimes when you attack people, do your homework. If you want to have credibility, especially if you speak for a government. Because Alaji Barrow, I think, was the only person on Gambia who would write Alaji Barrow, Nakalatura, Tennessee, Nebraska, Tennessee, or whatever, the state that he lived. I think he lived in Nebraska or whatever. He always signed his name with the state and city that he lived in. So how do you call that somebody who hit using Edin Sharp to mask his politics or his ideas? When Edin Sharp was being used, the guy was in the Gambia, getting ready to go and overthrow Barrow. And to say that he ran away, come on now. This the guy. In fact, I think what Alaji did, like you said, Musa, was more dangerous than anybody else.
Of course.
Can you imagine for Jammeh to realize that you are bringing weapons in that port? All they had to do was just got one, and he would have been executed on the spot.
Of course.
He was the one scouting the whole damn country. Be the advanced team. Did what he did. And you know one thing we need to even understand? Alaji Barrow is the only person among those that were arrested who refused up to date to cooperate with the FBI during their interviews and stuff. Refused. In fact, when he came, in fact, when he came to the US, and they started, they were waiting for him. He knew they were waiting for him. Started being nice to him. He told them to go FF. So you told that guy a coward? He's a guy who fought wars too. He was in the US Army. You can say anything about Alaji Barrow, but you cannot call him a coward. You can call anything about Mahdi, but you cannot call him somebody who is suffering from idleness and pettiness. What is pettiness? What is idleness? Idle about what? What is pettier than sitting and calling people names? That is the height of pettiness, isn't it? And Mahdi did not, all Mahdi did was criticize you for something you said. Just counter it. But of course, we have to go to the Gambian mode.
Yeah.
Like we used to say in Doi, keep up saying that Golola. That's it. We will not talk about the issues. We start talking about your mom or Kiga. Banjul fini man ko far mu ngam boye be buga de ki mu nañu wax dara melni yow yu
man jigewuma ko sol daba ko
Musa the brother said coach is not democratic de lo la wa de
why do mo wona ti why am nga pasamba ho mana Daniel nga danala gulo
no go ahead.
Being criticizing Mahdi or Alaji Barrow, it's fair play.
Yep.
Where he missed it, even calling them, you guys are hiding behind activism to play the role of a politician, he could level those things against them. He could. Where he made a mistake, when he reduced it to pettiness and cowards and insults, that is where people could read into the anger. But he could have said, look, Mahdi is Mahdi. He's supposedly an activist, a civil society. But what I see here is someone who is hiding behind that. He actually has a political position. Let him remove the veil and come out, and we can debate and agree to disagree. But you cannot hide behind your activism. He could do that, and it will be fair play.
Musa, you are sensationalizing the whole thing.
No.
Legi yangi tumnak. No. Either doctor. Hold on. Either doctor.
Nima moine. Whether it's Pasamba Jau, whether it's Alaji Barrow, whether it's Mahdi Jobate, whether it's Musa Jeng, if you have an opinion about this government or any government for that matter, that government should be able to rebut what you are saying, but based on the issues. Understand what I mean? Where I have a problem with is when you make shit up and then you personalize it. But criticizing, saying, Mahdi, no, you call yourself an activist, but to tell you the truth, remove the veil. You want to come and be a politician? We go mano or mano. He could say that. That will not be disrespectful. That will not be lying. He could say that. He just needs to refrain himself from personalizing. Because what he said about Mahdi or Alaji Barrow, people know that it's not true. When you call Mahdi idle, pettiness, and coward, no, that's not true. So they undermine whatever. And also, you don't even deal with the issues that they raised. Whatever issue they raised, address those issues. And then you can counterpunch by saying, look, call yourself an activist all you want, or civil society. But as far as I'm concerned, I think
I don't know all about that, Father Mose. I think one thing that is clear in these two folks, the three, Coach, Alaji, and Mahdi. Alaji raised a very pertinent and important issues there. Being the servant of the people. When you come out there and you wanted to share information, let be factual.
Yes.
And you know that. I know that. We both listen to Coffee Time all the time.
Yes.
I mean, Peter say it in a very nice way, but Peter challenged him sometimes and say, what does this mean? Right? So I think what he's trying to say is, Alaji is saying, hey, man, you know, we cannot continue. I think you are adding pepper to salt and spicing it more spicy, and then sitting down and call things as it. And, you know, it's okay if you don't know, Musa, to say, I don't know. I can go find out and get back to you. But don't start that and later on people find out that that is not true. And I think Alaji's conversation goes in, we cannot continue to hold people, the whole entire as fools in Gambia. You continue to say this when in fact, you know, that's not true. So and Maddie doubled down on that one and say, hey, you know what? Don't come out there and start attacking people. What we're saying, we've been through this road. And this is not just Alaji challenge. Alaji is challenging him as your former position. What you said in the past and what you are saying today is totally different. What has changed? What has shifted? What is the problem? And I think those are pertinent issues that we need to have discussed in our political domain. And that's what he raised. And if Doctor takes that personal and wants to go low, I think he needs to have a deep self-reflection of what did I do wrong? What put me into this position in the first place? And there is inconsistencies, right? So I think that's the conversation, not someone because he's saying that he leaned towards a certain political party or whatever. These two guys go out there, they lambast every political party in Gambia. They don't side with nobody. You do stuff, they go after you. So I'm not going to say that. So, but the partner issue is you say one thing 6-7 months ago, a year ago, today you're saying something different. And you are trying to undercut the messages of folks who've been consistent and who've been on the right track for years and years and years. And I think if you do that, they push your back against the wall. What you result to is personal attacks and not addressing the real issues.
You know, I do not disagree with anything that you've said. All I'm saying is this. Doctor had a position that is totally different from what he's spewing out there today. You know what? He went and accepted a job as Minister of Information under the Barrow government. And his job is to articulate the position of the government. Alaji Barrow, Madi Jobate, they are going to come after him, Pasamba Jau, Musa Jeng, anybody, they're going to come after him and they will accuse him, they go, whoa, what has changed? This was your position then, this is your position now. And Doctor can always, actually, he used to handle it just fine. He used to. He said, look, this is what I believe done, but for me, I think I want to come and make a difference. Now, people don't believe whatever they want to believe. You're not there to satisfy them. What you cannot do though, and this whole idea, this whole idea, doctors should just come and speak the truth and say something that is not in line with the government that he's representing. It's politically nonsense. It's not possible. He cannot do that. He cannot do that. What he should not do is to lie, bold-faced. What he should not do is to overspin. What he should not do is to exaggerate. Because at the end of the day, he also needs to establish credibility to the majority of the Gambian people. Not everyone, but to reasonable people. That's what his job is. If Madi Jobate comes and said, look, your position as far as term limit is concerned was this. Let's explain it. Has your position changed? You're like, Madi, but this is not about me. You know what my personal belief is. I'm the leader of Citizen Alliance. Our position is there should be a 2-term limit. I believe that then and I believe that now. And let me even add, even the government that I'm representing, they believe that. Hey, no, doctor, you are lying. No, he's not lying. He's not. Now, whether the government is committed to a two-term is a whole different ballgame. But they have passed, gazetted a constitution that has a two-term limit. What I'm saying is this. Doctor needs to learn from his mistake, get away from that Gambian sickness of personalizing things. He has accepted the job to be the Minister of Information. I wouldn't have, especially if I can a position si ma jëloon loolu la du ma dem naan dama ñëw jël seen job bi gannaaw jël na ko nag na ko def ci yar ak teggin na ko def di wax dëgg ne look, I have changed. America, it happens all the time. Vance, the vice president of Donald Trump, he calls him every name in the book. Now, this guy is Hitler in the making. This guy is not fit for the presidency. I mean, Western democracies, you see that all the time. I am not defending his actions for heaven's sake. I'm just saying that in politics, stuff like this do happen. And doctors should be able to take a position without making stuff up about other people that are attacking you. Now, look, shit, man. If these people are coming, attacking you, yeah, you can tell them that. Look, I know your position. You guys are just activists. And also, like Donald Trump who said, fake news, don't listen to them. Fake news. I mean, that is the name of the game. My friend just needs to learn from it. What I saw is someone who is very inexperienced. You can have a PhD all you want, but to have political experience, to be able to handle, God, he has never run a ministry or a portfolio like that. Never have I. You don't have experience in government. I'm not excusing his actions. He's bound to make mistakes. I am just hoping the young man would learn from those mistakes and build up himself. That's all I'm saying.
And Musa have experience and build up himself. Like you said, yes, you don't expect somebody who is appointed by the government to come and tell you that my government is terrible. That's never going. You're not going to have that anywhere in the world. And this is where when it is important for people to be guided by principles. Because if you're guided by principles, then you can choose who to serve and who not to serve.
Right.
Because then, even where it would have started, Musa, if Barrow were to call you today, Musa, and tell you that I want you to be my minister of whatever, there are things that you may, if you're guided by that principle, say, you know what, I will only serve if this, that, or the other
Correct.
are right. If not, definitely I will not be able to serve your administration.
Correct.
You know, but then if you take the job, and sometimes, and the mistake that Dr. Ceesay is making is like this issue, whether Barrow is going to run or not. Well, you know what? I am sorry. I am not here on behalf of Adam Barrow, the politician, or NPP. I am here on behalf of the government. I would want that question to be dealt with by the president. But what do you think? Do you think he should run? You know what? I don't think it will be wise for me to tell you what I think. But if I were to have a conversation with him, I'll have it. Let me give you an example.
Exactly.
When Dr. Ceesay was arrested,
yes,
and I can see this now, I first called Farmada Tambajang, vice president. She was in Dakar. She had traveled with Mr. Dabo. I was hot. I called Mr. Dabo and spoke to him. And he was like, Dr. Ceesay arrested for what? And I can hear people talking, you know. So chances are he turned to his people asking what's going on. So they told him. He was like, that doesn't make sense. And he said, you know what? I said what I had to say. He was, you know what? I'm definitely not going to come out publicly and tell them that, you know what, this is wrong or so.
Right.
But I will deal with it. I'm going to talk to the president because definitely this should not happen. And I understood that because I didn't expect him as foreign minister to come hold a press conference and say, you know what, the arrest of Dr. Ceesay is definitely, I condemn it as a member of the government. That does not happen anywhere. But this is where, you know, because let's say this whole thing about the term limits. Ceesay could have handled this perfectly well, would not be like they do here, non-committal answers, and just move on. But the thing is, you cannot be Dr. Ceesay. Who was talking about Dr. Ceesay 10 months ago? We did not. before he joined this administration. Nobody said anything about him. Do you see people going after SFL now?
No.
Wait until SFL gets appointed Attorney General and Justice Minister, then you see. Because and here is where you have to also make the separation. When you are part of a government, when people attack, it's not you, individual. They're attacking a policy that you happen to be a mouthpiece of.
Yes.
But if you've also had utterances from the past, they will also be brought into play to counter your current arguments. And this happens everywhere in the world. We see Senegal. Every day I see supporters, Marcus Corrupt Cabal, coming with what they call the VAR. You know, Usman Sonko, that happens every time. Yes. But you cannot just because of people brought up what you said before that you'll go and start. And you know what? When you are a position of leadership, it's just like when Barrow went. Dr. Ceesay, where were he? When he said that to Adama Barrow, it was satisfying. He was angry. He had to say that.
He was angry, yes.
Who became the laughing stock of all that? It was Barrow. Chances are Barrow is asking himself, I say, you know what? I should have never behaved like that. But that's what all of you and xare Dutch ak nen la rek si bopam. The Dutch, of course, is more powerful. But guess what? It will be the one left dirty. Because the nen would break. And so just focus on the issues. If you cannot answer them, you cannot answer them. But you cannot be a spokesperson for Barrow, the individual, spokesperson for NPP, spokesperson for the government. And then have you noticed that our friend Ibrahim Sakare is nowhere to be found now anymore?
Exactly.
On this coffee time. Because this guy had taken up.
The guy needs to divorce himself trying to defend Barrow the person, Barrow the politician, at NPP. I think he needs to focus on. And you remember when he was chosen, and I still believe that Dr. Ceesay is going to be an asset to this government. And he started out just like that because the information ministry, to tell you the truth, was just business as usual. When he started having that Mansakunda, when he started bringing ministers to articulate, because you remember, everybody was saying, it's not that the Barrow government is not doing a lot. The problem is it hasn't been communicated. So it was a question of messaging. Now, whatever happened to that, I don't know. And this is why, again, government, he's running into problems because of lack of experience in government. He's going to learn. Now, the question is, what is the price that he's going to pay during this process? Now, you made a mistake, doctor, learn from it and move on. Can you do a minister fini or running, a ministry? But accept you're making mistakes. Like I think Sarian said that when you went to initially, you basically apologized. You said that was a mistake. Bunma, I think it was on Coffee Time or something like that. People should not hold it against me. I'm just human. I made a mistake. And then when he went to the Fatou Rahman Sobi, there was this slight insinuation of doubling down or trying to rationalize some of the utterances. So make a mistake, like bro. You know what? I allow my anger to get the best part of me. And I shouldn't have done that. And I apologize immensely to both Mahdi and Alaji Barrow. Hell, I would even call them and make a public apology that what I said was uncalled for. I would say that. I'm not bigger than that.
Musa, you call sir for full disclosure. When I had my thing with doctor, the day he called me on Democratic, I spoke to him. We spoke on the phone.
Yeah.
And it was a casual conversation. And I told him, listen, dude, that's not going to be the first time I'll be coming at you as government spokesman. As long as you're working for the government, it doesn't matter which government is, you'll be hearing from me. But it's not going to affect, our relationship on a personal level. And he understood that.
When you take responsibilities to even people that you thought they are against you, you are beginning to disarm them. Now, you will never be able to disarm Mahdi Jobate to a point of he's not going to say what he's going to say.
No way.
He's going to say it. You are never going to apologize to Alaji Barrow to a point that when he comes to coffee time, he's going to go, no, he will not. he will always going to be critical about you. But you know what? What you've done to yourself, you have man up. You know, you made mistakes. You are a young politician. You got a whole future ahead of you, Dr. Ceesay. Take responsibility, learn from it, and move on. That would be my advice to you. You're a young man, now. You have potential, and I still like you.
It's after 3 now, so...
Brother man, because I'm not going to be benn chin bi budu ratatatat so koko xamna.
Why said baru benn chin bu fata taraj dañ la wax nga ne ratatatat rek kay.
Ñaadi? Hold on, let me verify. I like to
I think trust
but verify. No problem. Let me do that.
You know, this body bookers, brother Alaji Baro do le bala anytime. So, you know, I think it is, but you know, these things too, Musa, they happen in politics.
Of course it does.
And at the end of the day,
they actually do.
The thing is with Dr. Ceesay, he has, to me, and I've had those conversations with him. You know, he's a young man who has a great future in Gambian politics, whether you like it or not.
He does. You
know, what that future holds, nobody knows. But what you don't want to do you don't want to lose your credibility along the way by defending a government so overzealously to the extent that you lose yourself. You have to be very, very guided. If one thing that I've learned from Masi Halifagi, and they say he's rigid, is like how he is very, very careful with utterances and what he says to people, especially public, because you don't want anything to come back to you and say that you know you're speaking back something different. You have to have core beliefs, and you have to be able to.
Why Mom Tamit, even though he has core beliefs when it comes to positions, he can also be criticized for being too overtly overcautious. And but sometimes I think politically that doesn't help him either. I mean, I know what you're saying.
I'm not
cautious. When you're overly cautious, because you don't want it to come back and bite you. That can also be. It can be. I mean, it can be a political. I mean, it can be a political Achilles heels.
There are people who are interested in being elected right now, tomorrow. I'm not having maybe guarding their credibility or whatever for the long run is more important to them than anything else. I understand what you're saying, but all I'm saying, Moiregne, just be very careful, because one thing you don't want to do, Musa, let me tell you this. The day that I heard ne wajuara them na join ni jamme.
Yeah.
It was like, you know what? You have to be very, very careful.
Yeah.
Because you can lose just everything. To me, Barrow has not shown anything to the Gambian people to where you feel that, you know what, I can stick my neck for this guy because whatever he says is what he believes. This is the same guy who sold us 3 years and did exactly something different. You know, so what I'm saying, Moiregne, just be mindful. Just focus on the issues, address the issues. Anything that is extra, you know. In fact, he used to do very well with, you know what, Peter, that's their opinion, is their democratic right. They have their and then when you do that, that conversation is over. We move on.
Stick to that. Just deflect. Don't make up stuff. And look, he is always going to defend this government. I mean, that's what he's supposed to do. Defend in terms of articulating the policies of a government. Because you know what? Every policy or every issue, there are always a two sides of it. His job is to articulate it, accept responsibilities. That's what he's supposed to do.
Man, I understand what you boycott.
Kanji, that's new boycott.
Okay.
We are no longer independent or objective. We are only here. Is promulgating the right word? The position of the opposition, and that we've lost all credibility that we ever had. Like really do. And then Sariang. And I don't have any backbone. Now I am intimidated the Madagal guy UDP. That's what he said.
Well, I'm going to say, unfortunately, our whole country has been reduced into either ragal UDP or Nyeme Baro or Buga Baro or hate UDP. That's and that is just, you cannot discuss any issue where they will not be looked at look at from that lens of key UDP or key Baro. You cannot take any Mikey Sol Baji Sadima Mungla Dordal and no key is NPP, you know, hands down, Mayoko did Tonga Alaji Musare. You know,
Mangay Pona dama wara boke NPP rek na ma noppal sama bop.
You're the guy what a spokesperson.
Billahi bon ñu am spokesperson wala.
I wonder why you're giving Ismail a talking point when he needs to develop his own talking point and say,
I want him to. I told you, one element, I like the young man. He has potential, and I want him to be successful. You know, I really do. And yes, he made a mistake, and he should learn from it. The talking points, I know you do agree with those talking points.
Talking points?
Huh?
What his talking points?
No, man, you said, why am I giving him talking points, right?
Uh-huh.
Right?
No, that's what I asked, yes.
Because I want him to be successful.
Oh, okay.
I really do. Like I told him publicly, I haven't spoken to Doctor. I spoke to a friend of his to talk to him. He cannot be so short-term oriented in his outlook. Because Doctor is a politician. Doctor wants to be somebody. He wants even to be president. And I was just reminding him, don't be too short-term oriented. Lege, you have to play the long game. What makes you think that down the line, Doctor will not even be a UDP? You never know. Bro, Gambian politics, akabari.
Yeah, but Musa, you know, I don't know, that's all possible. But, I think if we really, at the beginning of this program, what you said, not just swap people at the top, but we also need to reflect on who we really bring that change. And that's not what I see in Doctor today. And even if
I don't see that either.
Okay, and if he wants to roast, and this is why I think the Madis, the Alajis, the Pasambajos challenging him to think. Otherwise, I mean, if he really wants to rose to the top, I don't want no leader, political leader, to who say one thing yesterday and sip another, and until, I mean, number one, he's in his experience, which he can learn, but I think doubling down, not connecting with people. I think what really pains me is on him and his other brother, right? When people are saying we have these challenges, we don't have electricity, healthcare is expensive, everything is expensive. Oh, this man did this, this man did it. I kind of wonder where in the heck where they are, what part of world are they in? Mm-hmm. Either they are being delusional or totally ignorant or arrogant. I mean, that's what I call it, because everywhere there's challenges in Gambia. People are not living up to expectation. Absolutely. When you're undercut because you have a freaking position in the government, and everything people say you push back, not reflecting and empathizing with folks who are suffering. I think it's a total disconnect, and especially for a political science profession. I'm troubled by that, and I hope he's watching this. He doesn't talk to me. I don't talk to Doctor, but I think the fact is, you gotta. The world has evolved. We have seen, especially our neighbors who've been standing up and pushing back on this institutionalized corruption, thinking more of yourself, gravitating towards self-enrichment, and the people, the masses, keep suffering and suffering. The economic prosperity is within the same sphere, whether it's businesses or the same people who get interchanged in the government. And it's not widespread, right? And I think we got to think about that, right? So the same business folks, they went with Jammeh, they are with Barrow the first time, they are with the second time, they get awarded the contracts and all that stuff. How do we shift that dynamic? And I think that's what economic prosperity means. How about we think about folks who are in rural Gambia, Soma, Basse, all the way, Nyomis, Kaur, and all that. Why are they not in the marketplace? Why do we continue to have these folks who have the businesses advantage over people every now and then? And this is something that I understand is worldwide, but I think we need to reflect on. But when they sit on platforms and you'll say, no, he did this, he did, but what is in for people, right? And I think it kind of come to this part of the world who had an election last year. Biden passed all these massive infrastructure bill. He got all these things, but people are saying, what in for me? I am not feeling it. And people are receptive for that. And I think when I hear our young doctor saying, being totally disillusional about, no, everything is green, there is absolute, everything is good, I think it's a total disconnect. And I don't really think if that's the case, we don't want him on the top, because I think he's just going to play the same old, like the man in the position, even worse, honestly.
Sarian, I agree with you that doctor is not the solution to the problem that we are confronted today. When we talk about the person that is going to transform the country, based on his public persona up to this point, the brother ain't ready. Seriously, he's nowhere close to ready. He's not. And we are tired of rolling the dice. That's why I said I am not interested in replacing Barrow. Replacement is not going to fix it. So I absolutely agree with you. In terms of going to platforms and amplifying what the government is doing, that's his job to do just that. He would have to amplify it. What he cannot do is to lie about it, overspin, or anything like that. But if the president, for instance, built a hospital in Badibu, he could say when there's a healthcare issue, access to healthcare, it's his job to amplify that. When people are questioning what is the government doing about access to healthcare, it's his job to amplify that. State the facts for what they are. Don't say the government has a hospital in Kaur when they don't have a hospital in Kaur. That's where I have a problem with. Don't say everybody knows that there is corruption, it's endemic in the country. Don't say, give me the evidence. His job is to amplify, articulate the position of the government. Lolu ligéyam la, moko jël job bi. Sariyang Marong, tay buñ la jëlon def la information minister, you are going to be amplifying in as much as prices are expensive in the market. I am telling you, you will say the prices are expensive, but this is what the government is doing. But compare us to Senegal. But
I'm not taking no job. I'm not taking no for the record. I am not. You cannot speak for me. Doma Munawa, you cannot speak for me. I will not take it because someone, a leader who doesn't have any sympathy for its voters, if I attach myself to that person, I am sucking on the blood of those people. I will never do it. He can offer me million and million.
Thank you,
I see the suffering in Gambia. That's what I need to fight for. Until that is realized,
I think we can close on that note. Sariyang Marong ain't taking a job to defend this government. No way, no how. Mbangulenge, he said.
Mbawulenke ntakela fer dumako man suma guy batatale 59 years femantano benge afela be ay kata matala be mabori Morocco moma la be dami ay funde afo mola be dami amake de fini de lam lamé man duma lam lamé duma lam le dama duma wochu man gelolu duma ko defat bama bañ.
You know what Sarah is. You see that imam kulon ware no di way gaay ne ñu Allah akbar nga dem nga mbokk sa bop bi si baraji.
But Mr. Marong, Today you're the guy.
What
win
the
you win this
Minister
one.
of Information. Luma doing Minister of Information. Mansurna, Minister of Information.
Well, anyway, so we'll definitely be back next Sunday, inshallah.
Inshallah.
We will
Thank you,
definitely
guys.
All right.
Thank you guys for, and I definitely need to fix this Facebook user thing. It makes
You
things
cannot fix it. It's not only you. Even Deba Showbiz at some point, your interview, it was coming up.
Wana bus. And maybe this is Facebook doing their thing.
Maybe it's Facebook. They're full of shit. They do their thing every time, you know.
I don't know whether so they may YouTube. Would the same thing be happening though? Maybe
no, because YouTube is a different platform.
No, I know. No, what I'm saying is, if you're watching our show on YouTube.
Oh no, if it is generated through Facebook, maybe that's what you'll see. But anyway, it was a good interview. I listened to most of it. I'll finish it today. But I think you really need to do an encore because there are so many questions that you did not answer in total.
I will listen to it. Yeah, I think he was giving.
I like it, but I think that there were so many other.
He was giving political answers.
Expanded on more to make it a lot more interesting. So you need to go back.
Well, I'm gonna it's a question of it was kind of open-ended. And Legi, you know, Fadu Rahman, I think she did a fantastic job.
No, Ceesay did. But you daga job di gon. Kubi rek ga dem 94. Ma ngi nan ki 81 mu ngi don dem di sacca bagage ci bitiki. Bob kay fa la war na dore.
No, we didn't go back to 81 though.
No, Bob dafa la you guys were going chronologically.
Right.
Bu be kubi na nga ko dundé rek yow nga jump straight dem. Yow kay ba nga dem di sacca di loot. Ñom morelal from and bitiki yo no.
Lo yaay suma der fi.
Ramason nañ la ramasuñ la. Thank you. But I think it was. I really enjoyed listening to it.
Man, I was dragging my feet. I really didn't want to. I'm one person that I don't like to be interviewed. But you know, when I kind of got going, but for a small fana system, it come a luma for light. Now whether am I going to run for president?
I'm glad somebody asked you that because those guys like Ninji Koneka. Can do vote?
I'm like Ceesay. But Pasamba, I really, there was one thing that I think I talked to you about it before. Like this government of national unity as the
when go up next week.
Yeah, so Bobudal.
No, because Sarian is really dying for his better to taraj. It's like Dusano.
Hi guys.
Hey, happy Veterans Day to all my compatriots who served before me, and I'm very grateful, man. I got to get that out of the way, man. All right.
Oh yes. Yeah. Well, happy Veterans Day to you, and I hope on this Veterans Day, the United States government will start playing lip service to the veterans and start taking care of them. Because when they are politicking, the servicemen are the greatest people. Unless you find that almost anybody who come with STPBTP and the homelessness.
I am praying that Veterans Administration don't get underfunded. All the extra services that we have for the past years don't get gutted down.
You guys have a commander. You have a commander in chief.
Who called you guys losers? He doesn't like people who get caught.
You guys are heroes.
No, Trump is crazy. No, I'm not a fan of people who get caught. So
I'm going to be depressed for 4 years having to listen to this man.
I believe in my Crystal, Commander Kelly, Molly. There you go, man. They are my motivators,
he already said he's going to take them to military tribunal.
Well, let him try, man. If he owns this country, let's try and see that one. That's going to go well, right? A 4-star general. Do it. Let's see how is that going to go well.
All right, bro.
All right, man.
All right. Thanks.